Welcome back, guys, welcome back. Yes, the Hyper is cleaned. You can only investigate all the problems, all the issues of the bike once it's clean. So let's not fuck about and let's get into this. So let's start from the back of the bike. This seems okay. There was some grass and stuff stuck in the wheel, but this all seems okay, no marks or anything. Coming up to the rear covers, that's obviously marked and scuffed. PPF has done some work. It seems like it's been pushed in a little bit, or the bracket, because it seems too really close here. This gap is non-existent, and even when you get your fingers in there, if you look at it from the back, I mean, it seems quite close. The gap doesn't seem too bad, but when you look at it this side, I don't know why this side's weird. This side's like taken a knock as well. Or, I mean, there's no marks on it. There's a big gap here. The gap here seems too big. It seems really close to the exhaust here, so I think something has happened with that bracket, I guess, where it attaches and fixes. Because if you look at it side on like that, it looks well weird. This side's down, this side's up. So I've taken the right side off. It is showing it's broken off on that side. I think the rubber piece has gone there. Whatever the grommet thing that goes in that thing has disappeared or snapped off or something. This was obviously really tight, so I don't know about that. I'll have to check that. And if I check this side that was on here, nothing appears to be snapped or broken on this side. Obviously the grommet's missing, but this just seemed really tight, didn't it? But looking at the exhaust side on, you know, they look like they sit and hang fine. Just randomly noticed that the heat shield is quite loose, so I'll probably have to check or tighten that. Hopefully that should, as a consequence of something else, but you never know. Right, moving down. Foot pegs. Well, driver side anyway. Driver side? Gear side. Gear side foot peg. This is loose. It's been scratched on one side, so I think this is lucky it didn't snap off and dig in. And obviously where you change up and down, the little toe bit has snapped off. That should be a good replacement. What I have noticed is how this lever sticks out a little bit. So if I film it like this, you'll notice that, but the whole thing's loose, see? So maybe once it's adjusted, it'll look a bit better. Again, I think it was interesting trying to change gears riding home with that. Had to scoot my foot underneath, but it worked. So got away with it. I tell you what, the biggest protection was this belly pan. Tell you what, saved my arse proper. Did really well. I mean, if this wasn't there, I mean, the grass was on a verge, remember, so it would have snuck, slid along, dug in, maybe crushed all this. The oil cooler would have been in the way. It's exposed, maybe ripped the oil off or an oil leak. Just the bottom of the engine frame. Because it's proper solid, fixed, mounted to that, not to the oil cooler. It's actually protected everything, I think. I mean, even the rear of the belly pan all looks, does its job, I guess. It looks like it's been in use. And obviously this crash bunk hasn't taken a lot off, but it's done its job and spun. And hopefully, fingers crossed, it hasn't dug in too much and took the weight, and the pin that goes all the way through the frame hasn't bent off. I don't think it has. There's people say just to keep an eye out for it, but that's another thing that we've got to look at. Obviously up here, the handguard, the Ducati handguard, it's got some rash. This is all scratched up, but as long as this works, for the time being, that's not an immediate worry, is it really? It's a little bit bent here. There's a gap there, so something's been adjusted or moved along. But again, this thing's done its job, otherwise that could have been completely smashed off. This had loads of crap on it, but I think the PPF again has done its stuff on it, done its mark. It looks clean. There's nothing around the calipers or underneath the caliper. There's nothing marked. Underneath the fork itself is okay. So this axle protector has done its job beautifully. Done what it's supposed to do. And I can still get to the box, not fucked. And this crazy bit, the radiator. The radiator is, I think it's the bracket. So this bracket here, which hooks into here, has I think it's broken off here. Look, that's snapped off. So I guess when you hook it in, it will just fall off. The other side, I think, has just come off. Currently, whatever that is just holding the radiator in place, and one on the other side. So right, let's just check the fan spins. Let's just check the other one. Yeah, that spins as well. So both the fans spin. They don't appear to be catching. So the last thing is the bars, this bit. So the wheels are straight because I've got it on the paddock stand. And obviously you can tell the steering damper's straight, but this is all wonky. This thing is bent, well, what bent, the bar on this side is down at an angle compared to that side. So obviously this side is digged into the ground, and as the bike spun, it's like pivoted on this, I think, on the floor, and then the bike spun around, so it's taken the weight, so I think it's bent it a bit. I just hope that anything underneath down there isn't bent, but you know, there's more stuff to do. So on the whole, I think I got away with it.